Welcome back to the OK Not OK podcast. I am Dr. OK, and today is our monthly segment of Who's Next, where we determine who should be next for each of the WWE main roster championships. And since the last time we did this, well, we have two new championships to talk about. So we're going to change up the format a little bit. We're dropping from the top 3 contenders down to the top 2 contenders, which I have to admit really helps out because there just aren't enough matches going on these days to really have 3. So dropping to 2 make things a lot easier. Plus, as always, we will still say who shouldn't get a shot at the title. So let's get it started as usual with Monday Night Raw and the World Heavyweight Championship, which Gunther is of course still the champion, defeating Damian Priest at Survivor Series. So who should be the number 1 contender? Well, we're gonna go with Seth freaking Rollins. He is 2-1 in one-on-one matches since his return, and well, that is good enough for these purposes. And don't forget that he should have won the championship all those months back and hasn't gotten another chance, so we're giving that to him right now. Now, who should be the number 2 contender? We will still go with Damian Priest. I know that might be a little controversial, but he is 3-2 in all singles matches since Bad Blood, including Bad Blood, and he did not lose that last match cleanly at Survivor Series, so we can't drop him too far. Obviously, Finn Balor put a nail in his coffin, so he can win maybe one match and get right back up to number 1. But speaking of Finn Balor, he should not be the top contender. Unfortunately, he is, because Gunther apparently just wants to fight him now, and Adam Pearce is good with that, so they will take on each other at Saturday night's main event. But let's not get it twisted here. He is 1-7 in all one-on-one matches, so he should be nowhere close to getting a shot at this title. Let's switch on over to the Women's World Championship, still, of course, held by Liv Morgan, who has not had to defend it for quite some time. And speaking of quite some time, Io Sky won the number 1 contender spot in the Women's Battle Royal on the Raw right after Crown Jewel, and that has not yet paid off, though it finally will at Saturday night's main event, so she is number 1. And who should be number 2? We can't knock off Mummy any further down than this. Now that she is back, she is 4-1 in one-on-one matches, and of course, someone keeps foiling her plans during all of these matches against Liv Morgan, so for now, she'll go at number 2. And who should not be the number 1 contender? Well, it is literally anyone else on the women's roster, as there have been no one-on-one matches since Crown Jewel. And, well, I guess we should come up with some name, so we'll go with Zelina Vega here. I know a lot of people think that she might deserve a shot here at some point, but she did have one back in July, and including that match, she is 1-10 in all singles matches, and in fact, she's the only one that had a fairly recent singles match, and she lost one-on-one in that match. Okay, with that, let's flip on over to the Intercontinental Championship, which Braun Breaker is now holding yet again in his second reign. Who should be the number 1 contender? Well, we'll make it easy here and just go with main event Jey Uso. He, of course, is 1-1 against Breaker for the title, so why not make this a 3rd match to see if Jey can win this title back yet again? And quite frankly, there just are not many choices for this title at this point. Now, of course, we did see Jey get injured on Monday Night Raw, but I have a feeling he'll be okay in at least a week or 2, so no need to drop him off of this list. And number 2, you won't believe it, but it's R-Truth. He is the only person on the men's roster on Monday Night Raw who is 2-0 or better since Bad Blood. That's right, no one has at least 2 one-on-one wins without losing at least 1 match. That includes Gunther. So yeah, R-Truth, we're gonna put you right in there for the IC title. Let's have you see what you can do against Braun Breaker. And who shouldn't be a contender for the IC title? It's Sheamus. Unfortunately, his time has come and gone for now, as he's now lost 5 of his last 7 matches, including 2 title opportunities, and it looks like he is injured for a little bit with a broken rib, so he's not going to get that shot. So let's go to the Women's Intercontinental Championship, which of course just started its tournament this past Monday on Raw. So we don't have a current champion, and we'll see who will become the first one. So our rules for picking the contenders here, it just has to be someone who is still alive in the tournament to be able to be eligible for our list here. So that's mostly everyone for the IC title, and we will go with Lyra Valkyria as our #1 contender, as she has a good record for the year at 5-4 in one-on-one matches. Admittedly, most of those were a long time ago now, but there simply aren't any other good contenders here, because we're going to drop way down to Zoe Stark at 3-8 in all singles matches as our #2 contender, as no one else in this tournament has more than 2 wins. Along the same lines here, it is absolutely criminal that Sonya Deville is not in this tournament, as she is 2-1 in one-on-one matches, which is a way better record than everybody else that is in this tournament. So that's really a shame that the PFC could not get all 3 of their members into this tournament. And who shouldn't be a contender? Well, this one is relatively easy. Alba Fire, she is 0-5 in all singles matches, which admittedly are mostly the Royal Rumble and Battle Royals, just like Katana Chance that we talked about on Monday Night Raw. But still, no wins. I don't see why she's even getting a shot here. Then our last title for Raw is the World Tag Team Championships, still held by the Judgment Day. They actually had to defend the title against the War Raiders. So for now, the #1 contenders for us will remain the Creed brothers, as they have now won 4 out of their last 5 tag matches and are 4-3 in traditional tags. So why don't they get a shot? They certainly deserve it at this point. And who is #2? We're just going to drop the War Raiders 1 spot here. They do have a better record than the Creed brothers, but they had a shot and lost, admittedly with Judgment Day shenanigans per usual, but still 4-1 record. They're good enough for #2. And who should not be on this list? Well, it will be the New Day. They have lost 5 out of their last 6 tag matches, so they don't deserve it right now, but I have a feeling that with this attitude adjustment that we just saw on Monday Night Raw kicking out Big E, good things are going to be coming for these 2 men. And with that, let's head on over to SmackDown with the Undisputed WWE Championship. Cody Rhodes missed Survivor Series, but he will have a match against Kevin Owens at Saturday night's main event. But who should be the #1 contender? We will still leave this with Randy Orton for now. Obviously, he is out with a neck injury at the moment, but he is 8-2-1 in one-on-one matches. He hasn't been gone long enough to drop off of this list, so we'll leave him here for now, and if he comes back, let's get him a shot right away. And #2, well, we think he's absolutely correct about everything he said about Cody Rhodes, so we're not disappointed at all that he will get the next shot, and he moderately deserves a shot, as he is 4-3-1 in one-on-one matches, with his most recent win being against A-Town Down Under in that triple threat match, which was admittedly a pretty impressive win, so there's no reason to drop Kevin Owens for now. And who shouldn't get a shot here? Well, we will acknowledge that he's on the roster, at least at this point, but he has no one-on-one or singles matches since WrestleMania, and you know that he lost that match, so he hasn't won a singles match since the Royal Rumble, so of course that means Roman Reigns continues to not deserve to be anywhere close to a title shot. Now let's go to the WWE Women's Championship, still held by Nia Jax. And, well, we just seem to be flipping back and forth on who should be the #1 contender at this point. So right now, it's Bayley. She has won 4 of 5 singles matches since Survivor Series, and she has the best record of anyone who is not holding a title. So, yeah, let's put her right back at #1 over #2, her BFF right now, Naomi, who has admittedly won 3 of her last 4 one-on-one matches, but just the overall body of work not quite as good as Bayley so far in 2024. And who shouldn't be a contender? Well, this is obvious. Candice LeRae, pretty much the only other person getting one-on-one or singles matches at this point on SmackDown, and she is 0-3 in all of those singles matches since she returned after several months off in October. Now for the United States Championship, this is our one title that has had a change of hands since our last video, so that is Shinsuke Nakamura as your new United States Champion, defeating LA Knight at Survivor Series. So LA Knight having won 9 matches in a row before losing to Nakamura, and with 14 one-on-one wins, tied with Cody Rhodes for the most on SmackDown. Well, he certainly deserves a rematch in this should he want it, and I don't see any reason why he wouldn't. Now at number 2, we've got to go off the board because there just simply aren't any other choices here. Yeah, Montez Ford did win a one-on-one match this past month, but I think he still really wants a tag team opportunity. So we'll go with Jacob Fatu, who got a very impressive win over former IC champion main event Jey Uso to earn the War Games advantage. That unfortunately was squandered for the new bloodline, but he looked awfully impressive, and compared to any other choices on SmackDown, yeah, I think Fatu certainly deserves a shot. Now, who shouldn't get a shot? Unfortunately, the WWE and Nick Aldis found a way to completely ruin a best-of-7 series in which both men came out looking worse than when they started, because Andrade and Carmelo Hayes are now both 0-3-1 in their last 4 matches. Are you kidding me? These guys fought really hard for 7 long matches, which the last one was just ruined by LA Knight, and they didn't even get a chance to try it again to see who would really come out on top. And for the first time, we have the Women's United States Championship. Of course, we're still in the middle of the tournament here, and we will eliminate Bayley and Naomi for consideration, even though both of them are indeed still in this tournament. But since we have them for the top prize, we'll not include them here for now. But of course, either of them could actually win this. So nonetheless, let's get to who our top contenders will be. And just winning this past Friday, it is Michin. She still has a really bad overall record, but amazingly enough, she has won each of her last 4 singles matches, plenty good enough to be the #1 contender. Now number 2 contender, it is Tiffany Stratton. And well, she has a lot of overall wins, 7-9-1 in singles competition, but almost all of those were at the beginning of the year. So she's on quite a cold streak, but for our purposes, that's still way better than anyone else that could be considered a contender. And yeah, she hasn't even had her first round match yet, so we'll see if she can advance to the semis. And who shouldn't be a contender? Well, a lot of you may think that the US title should be red, white, and green, but you would be horrifically wrong, because even with that very lucky win that she picked up a couple weeks ago, because Bianca Belair had to tend to her injured friend Jade Cargill, well, Chelsea stole a win, which is the only way she's able to win, as she's now 3-10 in all singles matches in 2024. That certainly does not scream contender. Now on to the WWE Tag Team Championships, which the Motor City Machine Guns are still holding, and we will still leave Tonga and Loa of the New Bloodline as the #1 contenders, as they are 3-1 in all tags, and of course, they only lost the championship due to the OG Bloodline getting involved. So if they now want to turn their attention back to the tag team titles, now would be a good time, and let's see them get their rematch. And at number 2, we will go with the Street Profits. They have won their last 2 tag matches, including a DQ victory against the MCMG, so that's plenty good enough to put them ahead of Tommaso Ciampa yelling at Johnny Gargano to get DIY another shot. And who shouldn't get the titles? Well, it seems to be them often. It's going to be pretty deadly here. They're at least getting a few chances in the last couple months, but they're 0-3 in all tag matches since October 18th. And our final championship is the Women's Tag Team Championships. Right now, it's still held by Jade and Bianca, but with Jade's injury, we just might have to see that title get vacated here soon if all of those injuries that they listed are as bad as it sounds. So let's hope for a speedy recovery for Jade, but if not, we've got to find some contenders to become the new champions. So we'll start it off with Bayley and Naomi. They may not even realize that they're an actual tag team, but they have won 3 of 4 tag team matches since September, which is really, really good for this division, so they have to be the #1 contender. And at number 2, they only have 1 total tag team win, but it was just this past week on Monday Night Raw. And so, yeah, Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez of the Judgment Day are going to be our #2 contenders here. They are the only other tag team other than Jade and Bianca to have won a tag team match in the last month. So, for now, they'll be #2. And who shouldn't be a contender anymore, unfortunately, it is Damage Control's Io Sky and Kairi Sane. Unbelievably, they've lost each of their last 3 decisions, and they have had 3 title matches so far in 2024, losing all of them. So we just can't keep putting them in there without winning anything, just like we finally knocked out the Pure Fusion Collective, as with their 8-4 record, they somehow have not had a tag team match in 3 whole months. So for now, both of those teams are off the board. So the New Day may not be tag team contenders right now, but they certainly had a lot to say on Monday Night Raw, and both the SportsZu and I had a lot to say about that yesterday. So if you missed that, go ahead and check that out right on over here, because if you missed that, that would be not okay.